Hi guys, I'm Jay Leonard J, and this is the Crocodile Tail Loop by One Control.
And you go snap, snap like a crocodile.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this thing is a pretty awesome piece of artillery. It's a true bypass box, but man, it could really do a lot of things. Could be as simple, could be as complicated as you want it to be. You could run this thing as just a basic, 10 pedal, pedal board, or you could actually use it in preset mode. So each preset turns on a selection of pedals. You could hook up your MIDI to it, so you could change your MIDI presets with this thing. You could actually remotely control it with another controller, so you can keep all your pedals in the back of the stage. It's just really, really useful, really, really fantastic, and really darn funky. So just looking at this thing and all the inputs and stuff, this could be pretty complicated. So my job is to kind of teach you a little bit how to use it in a little segment I like to call, "It looks cool, but how the heck does it work?" So my job is to break down this pedal a little bit for you. What I'm going to do is, it's going to be a bit of a longer video. So down in the description, you're going to see little chapters, so you can jump to the place that you need to be if you're having trouble with a certain function on this thing. That being said, let's just dig into this thing and get to rocking. Let's make some sense out of this back plate. Starting off, we have our tuner right here, our guitar input, and then we have an output right beside it. There's also actually another output right over here. So you have a lot of cool routing options, or you could go out in stereo, really fancy. This whole bottom row over here, this is 7 loops. This is your pedal board pretty much. You could put your pedals right in here. They're all connected and joined together. Back over here, we have our BJF buffer, a really nice quality buffer. You could put it in any loop you want, or just leave it out and go true bypass. This is our sync link cable, which we will talk about in a bit. We have our MIDI cables over here that we could connect. And last but not least, we have our 3 independent loops. So these loops here are independent from this bottom one. So you can place them anywhere you want, and they come in groups of 4. The middle 2 are for the pedal, and then this is your in and out. So you could put this in the effects loop of an amp. You could feed the output into this, so you could continue the length of your pedal board. Really cool options. And another great thing you can do with this loop is, you see how you have the NC or the NO? You could actually plug in your amp reverb foot switch, your tremolo foot switch, or your channel selector into one of these. So that way you could actually switch those functions from your amp on this unit. And that is the One Control in a nutshell. So it may look a little bit messy, but we got this thing wired up and ready to go for today. Pretty simple setup. I'm playing a Fender Telecaster with the Virgil Arlo pickups and Stringjoy strings, and I'm going through a Bad Cat Classic Deluxe amplifier. So there's 2 ways you could run this board. You could run it in program mode, which is the presets, and direct mode, which is just like a pedal board. So let's start off with direct mode, because it's, what we're more used to. Let's go take a look at what we have wired up. To get into the direct mode, all you have to do is just touch this top left button, hold on to it, and all of a sudden you see that dash. That means we are ready to rock and roll. Now remember how I said we have 7 loops in the bottom? That was our pedal board. Well, they all match up right here and then on the top like this. And then we have the 3 independent loops on the top. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, and then there's the 3 right over here. So let's see how we have this planned out. Right here on the far first loop, I got the lemon yellow compressor. Nice and squashy. On the second loop, I have the golden acorn overdrive special. Oh, that's killer. I ain't giving that one back. That's all I have in the main pedal board. Let's go over to the independent loops. I decided to put both of these into the effects loop of my amplifier. So the first one we have is the little copper chorus. Let's see what that sounds like. Cool, cool, cool. And then finally, we have the C turquoise delay on this one over here. Because my amplifier effects loop is passive, what I did is I got that BJF buffer and I actually fed it into the effects loop just to give it a little bit of a boost. Very, very useful to have that on your board. Last but not least, we have right on the top, this is the reverb actually. What I did is I got the reverb foot switch from the amp and put it right into here, and there's the reverb. Awesome. Now you realize I could easily just use this whole thing as my pedal board and I'd be happy and my life would be perfect. But now let's see if we can get ourselves into the program mode, which gives us our presets, makes things really fast for us. All you do is you hold on to the top left button and then you see the number. That's our bank number. So each bank is going to have 7 programs to choose from. And the way we switch up the banks is by using these top 2 buttons to switch. So we could have up to 70 presets. But let's just go to this one over here, and we're going to go program 1, number 1. So what I'm going to do is say I want to have a really good clean tone. So for my clean tone, what I'm going to do in this preset is I'm going to go put on that compressor. That's the first thing in my loop. I'm going to turn on the reverb, which is where it was over here, right? And then I'm going to turn on maybe a little bit of the delay. So now I have 3 pedals, and it all gets connected together at the same time. Gorgeous. Now let's say I'm good to go into program 2. For this one, I just want a good old-fashioned overdrive, so I'm just gonna go put on the overdrive loop 2, and that's it. That's all I want to do. Nice old school distortion. And last but not least, let's say just for memory's sake, we're going to loop 3 and I'm just going to turn everything on. So I have the compressor, the overdrive, the, what is this? The chorus, we have the delay and the reverb, and it's all together. Gorgeous. Now, if you notice, I didn't actually have to press save and everything comes out the way it was supposed to be. I have my 3 effects here, my 1 effect here, and all the effects on here. Very good. No presets. The moment I switch, it saves it automatically, which is great, especially say you have a cable go bad. You could just disable that pedal and continue on with your gig without thinking twice. No programming. So that, in a nutshell, is how you get this sucker going on. All right, so you might notice that my turquoise delay turned into a Nemesis delay, and the reason why is because that's a MIDI pedal, and I'm going to teach you how to use this pedal to change the presets on this pedal using MIDI information. The way we do it is we got to set it up first. The way you set it up is you go from the MIDI out from the 1 control into the MIDI in of your MIDI pedal, and if you want to connect more MIDI pedals, you just go from the through of your pedal into the MIDI in of your next pedal, so you can keep piggybacking them off each other. After you do that, you have to go into your MIDI on-off and move it to TX. Not RX, but TX. The reason why we're transferring information to here, it's not going the other way around, going this way. Last but not least, we have to make sure that all our MIDI devices are on the same MIDI channel. So this pedal, by default, is at MIDI 0, channel number 0. So you have to go on your devices and make sure they're on channel 0. Each device is different, so you have to look in your instructions and find out. Luckily for most people, most pedals just come set at 0, so your life is really, really easy. Okay, now we're set up. Let's figure out how to make some sounds out of this thing. What happens is when I'm on bank 1, preset 1, what that's pretty much doing is it's telling the Nemesis, hey, go to preset 1. If I go here, it's going to say go to preset 2, and it goes all the way up your banks, all the way up your banks until you get to preset 70. So you could get 70 different presets. So let's program a preset. I'm just going to go right over here, and let's say we want a really nice kind of atmospheric delay. So I'm just going to go move this to the analog, maybe put that right up halfway and put that, you know, quarter of the way up. Let's hear what that sounds like. Oh, and I'm going to have a little compression there. That sounds pretty cool too. Oh, that's really nice and moody. I love it. I love this preset. So all you have to do is just save it, and it'll save it to that channel. Now it's saved. Now let's go into our next preset. We're gonna go right over here. And let's say I want a slap back delay because, you know, I'm kind of edgy that way. So I'm just gonna go move this a lot lower, go to tape maybe, keep everything at full, put that over there. And let's see what we have. Oh, I have the overdrive on. Yeah, let's turn the overdrive on. Let's see what that sounds like. Oh, now that's gorgeous too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna save that. It is saved, and all of a sudden we just have it so that when I press this, I have my beautiful atmospheric delay. And then when I go over here, I got my slapback. Easy as pie. With all the cables and all the pedals on this thing, it's really easy to see how this can get really out of control. And maybe sometimes you don't have a lot of space on the stage. So a lot of people, they want to be able to keep this, say, backstage or like by their amp and control this whole unit with a MIDI controller in the front of the stage. Well, there's two ways you can do it. If you have a second Crocodile tail, you could connect it via the sync link and do it that way. Or if you have a MIDI controller, you could also control it via MIDI. So I'm gonna teach you how to do both methods with the same unit because this could actually do both. So here we go. To set up your controller via the link and sync method, all you have to do is insert the cable on both units, use the link config to set your controller to the red LED, and then set your slave device to the green LED. Before you know it, you've successfully set up your controller. Now if you want to control your Crocodile tail with a MIDI controller, all you have to do is make sure your MIDI controller is set to MIDI channel 0, go from the MIDI out of your controller into the MIDI in of your one control, and finally just make sure your MIDI on-off is set to RX so that way it could receive the information from that external controller. Once again, everything's sunk up perfectly. So if having 10 effects at your disposal is still not quite enough for you, you could actually sync in another one of these babies via the sync cable, and all of a sudden, you got yourself an extra 10 ins and outs. All you have to do is just connect your sync cable to both units and make sure that the MS light on the link config screen is turned off. Then all you have to do is just go from the output of this into the input of this, and all of a sudden, you got yourself a much bigger pedal board. Or if you want, you just don't connect them at all, and all of a sudden you have two independent rigs that are completely sunk together. Well, it is quite simple just to use this thing alone to change the MIDI presets on your guitar pedals, but it is quite laborious because you pretty much have to come up with a brand new MIDI preset for every single patch on this. You get 70 patches, which means your pedals need 70 presets. It could be quite a lot of work. That's why they have the CrocEye controller. What it does is it really speeds up and simplifies the whole process. And it also gives you controller changes, which even lets you tweak even further. So let's go hook up this CrocEye. I'm using two MIDI pedals today, this old source audio delay and my Line 6 M5. First, you connect the CrocEye to the one control with the sync cable. Then you send the MIDI out to your first MIDI pedal, then use the through of that pedal to connect to your second pedal. And for your last step, what you're gonna do is you're gonna change the MIDI channels on your pedals. So for this example, I set the Line 6 to channel 1, and I set the source audio to channel 2. Well, we have a bunch of buttons right here on the face. Let's go figure out what they do. To get into editing mode, we just hold on to the mode button right over here on the top. And you'll see we have 3 different characters. The first one, near that blue one, it tells us what MIDI channel we are going to be editing, which pedal we're editing really. So if you remember, we have our M5 on number 1 and we have our Nemesis delay on number 2. And you could change it by here, this is number 1, and then by pressing factory, we can go to the MIDI device 2. The first character is telling us what thing we're changing in that MIDI device. So the P stands for preset. This is we're going to edit the preset. And if we press that button over here again, now we're doing a controller change for that preset. And if we press this one more time, this is the name. So we could actually change the actual name of it so it's not boring like 1-4. Let's program a beautiful preset. Okay, so first we do is we go into the place that we want it. So let's program a preset here. And you see how it all changes. What I want on this is I want a beautiful chorus from my M5 and a nice dotted eighth note delay from my Nemesis. So let's go do that. Let's hold on to this mode button. It's blinking up. So we're on device number 1, which is our M5. And I have a beautiful sounding chorus in the second preset slot of this. So let's make it happen. 0 is the first preset and 1 is going to be the second preset. I have a great kind of dotted eighth note delay on the third preset on my Nemesis. So I'm going to press factory, go into the second channel, and we want to get to the third preset. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3. If I press factory, you should notice immediately that I have a beautiful chorus mixed with a nice dotted eighth note delay. Let's see if it all worked. Absolutely gorgeous. It is beautiful. So that's pretty much what most people are going to need it for, but we can go a little bit deeper. If you want to change the name of your preset, that's really easy. Just hold on, get back into editing mode, and keep pressing it until we get into that little section here. And we can move the characters this way. So let's just come up with, H, and let's move it down. Oh, there you go. There's a Y, and go back down. There we go. There, P, height. That's a great name for a preset. Let's hold on to the mode, and all of a sudden we have our height preset. So much better than 1-1. Say I want less repeats. I just want one repeat, okay? Well then, instead of coming up with a whole new preset, we could actually do a controller change. A controller change consists of 2 different values. 1, the control that you want to change, and 2 is how much you want to change that control by. So to change the feedback, I went into the instruction manual for the Nemesis and found that to change the feedback, I have to go into controller number 5, and I have a choice from 0 to 127. So 127 being the max amount of repeats, 0 being the least amount of repeats. So let's go make that change. I'm going to hold on to the mode. I don't want a preset, I want to do controller change, so I'm going to press C. The big letter is the controller number, press factory. The small letter is the value. So we want to edit the Nemesis, which is 2. So we're on the big C, C2. So we want to control number 5, which is feedback. So I'm just going to move it up to 5. And I want to make that minimum feedback. I just want 1 repeat. So I'm going to go press factory again. We're on the small, which is our value. And yeah, we'll keep it at 0. So let's see what that sounds like. See that? All of a sudden, without having to program a whole new patch, I just did it all in this box. Simple. Pretty much in a nutshell, that's all you need to know for this little device. Well, that is it. That is the video. Thank you so much for watching. My question for all my subscribers is, do you see something like this as something you want to implement onto your board? Obviously, it's going to take up a lot more space, but man, it'll make things a lot more simple for you. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your point of view is on the whole subject. That being said, I'll see you guys all soon. Take care and goodbye.